Hey, there you are. I hope your day is going well. Old stud walker here out in the shop, and I got this first little garden gnome all carved up. I can give you a good look at him. That came out all right. One thing I figured out from my first carve and talk is that I can't carve and talk. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. I accidentally carved this all out that I shouldn't have on both sides. I ended up having to glue some wood in there to fill it back in. So anyway. So I got my second blank ready to go. It's got a little bit of junk going on right here. I'm not quite sure how that's gonna pan out. I guess we'll see. And you can see this one is off a bit too. Well, you can definitely see on the hat. But anyway, we'll see how it comes out. Well, I've been soaking this in some water. So, let's see. Usually helps a little bit. Well, I guess I should tell you about how I renovated my house. First thing we did, my friend Craig, he came and helped me put a roof on the house, which took, I think it took us a couple weeks. We had to do some repairs and do a few things. The one thing that I did good on the house, or on the roof, was I put in those solar tubes. They're like skylights, but they're just round tubes. They let in the sunlight, and so if you get any dark spots in your house, you put one of those solar tubes in there, and boy, it really brightens everything up. I got one in the living room, in the kitchen, the bathroom. The bathroom was really nice. You know, it's like, especially during the summer, you never have to turn on the lights in the bathroom all day, because it's so bright in there. So those, I highly recommend those solar tubes. Those are really nice. And it's hard to, there's so much to say about renovating the house. It's kind of hard. I keep leaving out stuff. But anyway, I'll put a roof on it. And I started cleaning the place up a little bit. Me and had a kid helping me. And I noticed the water pressure wasn't very good. And so I dug up the water line, and it was just half-inch galvanized water line, which I'm sure 50 years ago that was completely adequate. But anyway, I figured it wasn't going to be adequate for my needs. So I dug up the water line and I figured out that the water meter was on the other side of the road. So if I wanted to replace the water line, I had to figure out how to get underneath the road. I'd seen how people, if you're laying like sprinkler systems or something, and you need to get a pipe to go under a sidewalk or something, you can take a piece of PVC pipe and cap off one end, then drill like an 1/8 inch hole in there, and on the other end you put a fitting for the hose, and you just start blasting a hole underneath the sidewalk or whatever. It just kind of makes a jet of water that blasts a pretty good hole. So that's how I got under the road. I just took it was a pretty long, at least 12-foot piece of PVC pipe. I had to patch a couple together, I think. And I just started blasting a hole right under the road. And luckily the soil around Wishram is all sand, so I wasn't having any problem making a hole. The problem I encountered was that people I talked to told me that they had been burying garbage on this end of the town, in the early stages of the town. So I kept running into tin cans and all kind of garbage, metal garbage. I had to change courses several times to get around some of that junk, but I finally made it across, and I didn't get arrested. Nobody caught me. I was kind of surprised. I tried to do it quickly. I think I only spent 2 or 3 days doing it. And I can't remember. I think I was using 1-inch PEX. That 1-inch PEX. That flexible piping. Anyway, so I got that under the road and connected up to the meter, and I put a shut-off valve right outside my house, and from there I ran 3/4 inch PEX all underneath the house until I got close, and then when I got close I switched to 1/2 inch. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I had plenty of water pressure, because I was thinking about putting in a sprinkler system, which I had never done yet, but anyway. Oh, I need a drink of water. Yeah, that PEX is great stuff. I'll tell you what, it'll, if it freezes, it just expands, so it'll never break if it freezes. It's got a memory to it. It's really neat stuff, I think. One of the ways that you can install fittings onto the PEX or with the PEX is through the use of an expander tool, which actually expands the pipe, and then you got a few seconds or so to slip your fitting in there, and then the pipe will just close back around and go back to its original shape, and you got a super tight fitting. Anyway, so that's what I did. Bought a bunch of fittings, and I rented it's called an expander tool, and I rented that thing, and it took me about 2 days to replumb all the freshwater lines. Really, it was 1 day. I did the majority, and then the next day I kind of had to tidy up some things. But I never had any problems with it, and I couldn't imagine what it would have cost me to have my house replumbed. But I'm sure it wouldn't have been cheap. I probably spent, I can't remember, but I'm sure it was under $1,000. That's for sure. But anyway, after I got the fresh water lines going, first thing I did then, the first real thing I tore apart was the bathroom. And I did that because the water heater was right next to the toilet. And I thought that looked kind of ugly. Well, one of my biggest regrets on that house is that I didn't take more pictures at the beginning to show you what it looked like. Oh, it was so ghettofied. It was really bad. Both front windows had been shot out. There was an abandoned car that was, I'm not sure if it had, I think it had some tires on it, but I know it was missing some wheels, so it was like up on blocks. Of course, the lawn hadn't been mowed in ages, years and years, and trash everywhere. Yeah, I wish I would. I never even took a picture of the front yard. I can't believe that at the beginning. But anyway, it was trashed, completely trashed. So I started in on the bathroom, and I figured out a place to put that hot water heater that you didn't have to be staring at it. And I tore apart that bathroom, and I had a few scary moments there where I was like, crap, what are you getting yourself into? You know? I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, I just took it one step at a time. I didn't worry about all that. About the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. And there was quite a bit of rot in the bathroom. I had to, it's a moist environment. I think the plumbing was leaking or something. Anyway, there was all the wood that was in contact with the floor was rotted, basically. Well, not all of it, but a majority of it. So I replaced all that. And the bathroom was where I first did the tiling. I had helped on a tile job once, I think. Helped my friend Craig do some tiling. I had never really done it myself. So he came and helped me tile the bathroom. It's funny now. Back then, that seemed like, I don't know, such a hard thing to do. Experience is funny sometimes, I think. Anyway, the tiling in the bathroom, that's what got me hooked on the tile. I got on the Craigslist and I found a nice design. All the tile in my house is based on some type of square pattern. So I found this nice interlocking square pattern on Craigslist. Somebody was trying to sell it to you pre-made, but I just used the picture and recreated it. After it took me a couple of attempts, because of course I didn't know anything of what I was doing. I did a whole I cut it all out and everything. A whole design in my bathroom. It was a lot of work. I cut it all out and laid it all out and cut all the tile and everything and stuck it down on the bathroom floor. And I realized that it wasn't going to work, because you want all the tile that butts up against it to be closely related to the same dimensions. So I wanted my design to have something I could put 12-inch tile up against, and it would match up. Basically, I took no consideration into how the other tile was going to match up to my design. So anyway, so I had to completely redo it and redraw my whole design and base it on the 12-inch tile that I was using. So anyway, it's all part of the learning process. I got it figured out the second time. Oh, I was just amazed that it could look, that bathroom. I was really pleased with how that came out. I'm still pleased with it. I bought an old dresser, or a vanity, I guess you would call it, and excuse me. I went to the plumbing store and found what they called a vessel sink, and put it on top of that vanity. I didn't buy the greatest quality vanity because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want to destroy something really nice. So I thought, well, geez, you can try it with this one, which wasn't very expensive, and get a little experience. And if you like how it looks, and you get yourself a better one later on. So anyway, I'm glad I did it, because Peaches has been chewing on that thing quite a bit. So if I'd had a nice one, well, it'd be all chewed up by now anyway. So anyway, and then I bought some granite tiles to go on top of that vanity, to lay on top like counters. And boy, that granite was expensive. It was, yeah, I paid over $100 for just a couple tiles. They were big. I had to cut them up and polish the corners and glue them on there. But anyway, that came out nice. And the clawfoot tub I got from the business manager at the school. It was sitting out back of her house under the porch or something, you know, just getting in the way. And I told her she knew I was renovating that house, and I needed a bathtub. Somebody told me she had a clawfoot bathtub that she wasn't using, so she gave it to me. And it was in poor condition. I had to refinish it, which is an adventure. But anyway, it's been usable. I take baths every morning, usually. I love that clawfoot tub. It's really nice. So, and the bathroom was the first room that I tried my hand at spraying the texture. So that was interesting. And I thought, at the time, I was pretty excited how it looked. I thought, wow, that looks pretty good. But if I look at it now and I think, oh, that looks crappy. But anyway, I got a lot better at it as I went, like everything else. Yep. So after the bathroom, then I think I was working on getting the sheetrock back up, which is a pretty big job. Before I did all that, you know, I had to rewire the house. And the wiring in it was like 60s or 70s, I think. It was pretty old. I don't think the outlets had the negative. They weren't 3-prong outlets. They were just dual. Anyway, it was all crap. So it takes a while to rewire everything, especially when you don't know what you're doing. But eventually we got it ready to be rewired. I'm trying to think of how that worked. We had one summer, I know this first summer after I bought the house, we had to spend that whole summer like reframing a good portion of the house, mainly where the roof had failed, because all the framing was rotten. So we had some pretty good work parties there. 5 or 6 kids, I think, for a while there. Yeah, that's the other thing. I hired school kids from the school to help me out on the house all the time. Had one kid especially. Well, he was in on all the deconstruction. He went off to college, but so we had some pretty good work parties. I always fed my work crew. I'd fire up the barbecue and cook up some burgers and hot dogs and have some watermelon and cookies and I remember one kid, he was pretty excited. He wanted to come work for me all the time. That good lunch. You know, those kids, they weren't always the best workers or anything. We had a good time, and it's kind of like giving back to the community too, because there's not many jobs for the kids around West Ram, let me tell you. There's not much happening. So kids were usually pretty happy to get some work, and I was happy to have some help. Yeah, we had to jack up the part of the roof of the house, tear out all the old framing, and well, actually, we built the new framing before we tore out the old framing. But we'd have to disconnect the framing from the wall framing from the roof framing and jack up the roof and put the new wall framing in. I had to spend one night with it, or with the roof jacked up, with just a I think I used a 4x4 post or something, big long one or something to hold it up. I slept nervous that night. I was a little scared. Yeah. Well, we got it all reframed. That's kind of funny. The house has about 4 well, 3 different types of siding on it, and like 4 different layers of siding.